Welcome to the Free to Soar podcast. My mission is to inspire, empower, and equip heart-centered, mission-driven, kingdom-minded business owners to show up freely and fully as the brilliant, powerful change makers that you are, so that you can lead the business and the life of your dreams. You'll enjoy vulnerable, authentic conversations with me and other heart-centered, mission-driven leaders that will spark your heart and ignite your passion to powerfully transform you, your business, and your life from the inside out. Your next level of impact and income is about unleashing the fullness of you, reprogramming your limiting beliefs and patterns, tapping into and trusting your inner wisdom, and harnessing God's power within you so that you can unlock new possibilities in your business and your life. And this show brings it to you. Step with me into a God-powered reality wilder than your wildest dreams, with freedom, impact, abundance, and enjoyment that you were created for. Let's go. Well, hey, everybody, we're back with another incredible guest today. You're going to love her. I just want to welcome you to the podcast. If you've been with us before, you know that we talk about business, all things faith, and all things leadership. And so we're going to get a little bit of every bit of that today with CA, our guest. So today we have a CA Washington. I have just gotten to know CA over the last couple of months, and she is quite a light in our community. She is the owner and operator of the Woodhouse Spa in Peachtree City. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes and all the other things that she does. She and her husband together own a business, and she's involved in many projects of her own and leadership in the community. So we'll talk all through that today. But welcome, CA, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to just dive into deep conversation with you and just hear your story and hear your heart for and wisdom about business and leadership, and how, as a Christian leader, you allow the Lord to lead you in that. And so it's just been beautiful to watch. We met several months ago in Rotary.
That's right.
And I was immediately drawn to you from hearing just a little bit. You just shared one day a tiny little bit of your story, and you had written a book, and I'll let you share a little bit of that. And the way that you spoke and your spirit and the light that you emitted was just incredible. And I was like, I have got to get to know her. And God knew that too, because what he did was he gave us an opportunity that next week at a Rotary luncheon for me to come up to you and have a few minutes to talk with you. And we connected. And then we ended up, don't tell the whole story, but we ended up creating this experience, this Christian Bible and prayer and community group for Christian leaders in our community called Selah at the Spa. And we'll talk more about that too, but that's kind of our journey together. And I just want people to get to know you like I have, and hear all that you have to share. So share a little bit about, like, first of all, how did you get to Peachtree City?
Okay.
And tell us about how you became the owner and the operator of Woodhouse Spa in Peachtree City. Woodhouse is a franchise,
Right.
but you are the owner and the operator of the one in Peachtree City.
Yeah, it's so funny. I guess in around 10 years ago, time flies.
Yes, it does.
So, I fell in love with the guy, right?
Yes.
So I had lived in Atlanta before. I found myself back in Atlanta. And it was right kind of as COVID, we're coming on being after COVID a couple years, because he owns a dental practice. So I went into the practice with him, worked with him for a while. But even before that, I walked into a Woodhouse for the first time as a guest.
Wow.
And, since we're talking about spirit and God, no kidding. I walked in and it was like, you should own one of these. And I thought, that's just so weird. I just came to get a massage, right? Like, but I was kind of taken aback with it, because it was, it had like the spa feel, the day spa, but it was like not far. I didn't have to go to a hotel. I didn't have to go to a resort or fly to Arizona or something like that. And just in being a normal, hectic, busy person, it was so refreshing. It was like my monthly thing, and sometimes more than monthly. But
Yes.
I had started to learn more about body mechanics, ergonomics, sitting at a desk all the time, traveling, lifting things, just all the stuff I was doing and
Yes.
how I needed to start taking care of my body. And with my husband being a dentist, same thing with him. He's hunched over, doing all these little movements. And even when we were dating, we dated like 3 years long distance. We went and got a massage every month somewhere together
Yeah.
because that was a part of like the care plan for longevity.
Yes.
You just like when you start working out, you learn, oh, you need to stretch too, Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
And then you
gosh.
learn like, oh, you need to do massage, you need to do kind of all of these little things to
The
kind of help condition
holistic
yourself.
picture of, yeah, of not
Yeah.
only of self-care, but self-nourishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
just,
relationship and connection in relationship. I mean, you had that was the way to, to get all of it together. That's beautiful that y'all were doing that together. I love it.
yeah. Cause with most guys, they won't go do, oh, you need to go do this. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll go do it. Right.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, I made an appointment. We're going.
We're going. That's right.
Yeah.
That's often the way it works.
Yeah. And then as far as Peachtree City goes, crazy enough, my grandfather has a really close friend. Um, well, he's unfortunately passed away now, but growing up, he's from a small town in Mississippi
Wow.
and his friend ran track. Okay. So he's like an Olympic track runner. I
Wow.
mean, decades ago, there are very few people of color who, from decades ago were
Oh
involved in the
yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
But he settled in Peachtree City. And as a child, when we would come south to visit, we would go to, Uncle Ralph's house in Peachtree City, and there was this
Love it.
whole golf cart community thing and all this stuff. I grew up in the
Yeah.
Midwest, so we didn't have the weather and all that stuff around.
Yeah.
And then fast forward decades later, I have other family members that have been in the South Atlanta community for decades. And
Yeah.
honestly, I used to feel like, why do everybody live out way out there? And then kind of I got back here, got settled, and kind of life changed. I changed, and I was like, oh, wow, this is a really great area. So
Love it.
when we had the conversation about with Woodhouse, where would you want to put a location? I'm like, Atlanta is pretty saturated with a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
in my mind, with south of Atlanta kind of growing the way that it is,
Yeah.
and kind of looking to bring like a luxury experience, I felt like
Mm.
it would be a good area. The brand, they're always looking at, a map and statistics and data. But I felt like, it's just kind of where the area was going. I thought that it would be good and nurturing. And I knew that I wanted our location to be like a communal place. And
Yeah.
that was highly aligned, right? I came
Mm.
down
Yeah.
a couple years before we opened our doors to start to get to know people. And I mean, it's very much a community place. So I felt
Yes.
like it would be good for the brand, but specifically for our ownership in this area.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And now, so tell us, where's your husband's, and not your husband, but your joint dental practice? Because and you were working in the practice, correct? For
I
him.
did that.
And
Yeah, so, like, I'm on, I think, career number 4 or 5
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So
What did you do? Because we've talked about this before. I just wanted you to share. What did you do before you
Mhm.
decided to open? Well, before you were working with him in the dental practice, and then before you opened Woodhouse.
So,
What's your
crazy
background?
enough, so when I was growing up, my dad was our alderman, and my mom was a business owner, and my
Wow.
grandmother was a pastor. She had a church, right?
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
have been, helping with the family business for quite some time in, like, several different aspects, which led me to always say, "I don't wanna own a I don't wanna own a business. I don't wanna do anything in
I'm never
government."
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Yeah. Neither one. And you ended
that's
up doing
right.
both.
I sure did, I sure did. So, like, at first it was real estate. So at first I did, like, residential real estate, then I did commercial. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. And then I end up working in government in state and federal in different roles for like 15 years.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and then I kind of ventured out to do kind of like we say the side hustle. So I started a business that was first called Polish to Perfection, but then I changed the name to the Image and Etiquette Institute. And I
I was
would
gonna say, was that
coaching,
etiquette? Is that etiquette? Yeah.
speaking. Yeah, and it was
Yes.
pretty, a lot of people, I might be dating my age, but I became Emily Post certified, right? As
Ah, yes.
a business etiquette, right? So just kind of talking to people about the one-on-ones and like really working through conflict or like people who wanted to invest in someone in their career who maybe needed like a little bit of polishing here and there, like let's
Yes.
get them ready for the C-suite or a leadership role. So they called me to work with them. So that's,
Love that.
I wrote the book, I started speaking, all these things. And then COVID happened, right? So at
Mm,
that point, okay, let's go
yeah.
to the dental practice. There's a lot of things happening. So he and I work together just to
And
kind
where
of,
is it?
it's in Atlanta. So it's in the
Atlanta.
Atlanta
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
It's actually in Tucker. And, we worked together a couple years to kind of rebrand, rebuild,
Love
because
it.
at that point, I thought it was so funny. I have been working remotely for almost 10 years. And when COVID happened, I chose to go in the office every day with like one of the most dangerous industries being in people's
Right.
faces.
Yeah.
But, it's just kind of the way it happened.
Yeah, it's just what you need to do. You were just paying attention. You were just noticing where you felt led and where God was leading, I guess, and noticing the things noticing what needed attention and growth.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love it. Well, and so then after that, then you started thinking about where do you want to put a Woodhouse, and you decided on Peachtree City, and then you guys. So you live here. You and your husband live here now
So
in
we're in Fayette
in
County.
Fayette County,
Yep.
and so you started building community and
Mhm.
before Woodhouse opened, and then Woodhouse. Tell us so Woodhouse opened when, and tell us about how that's going.
Sure. So Woodhouse opened 2 days before Christmas in 2023, right?
Oh my
So
word! Oh
everything
my
was on
word!
fire at the time, which is probably not
Yes,
a good analogy for a woodhouse, right? But
right.
uh, I mean, code, permitting, fire marshal. I'm like driving
Oh
city hall
my
crazy.
gosh,
Everybody's trying to go away for Christmas break. And I'm like, hey, this is like key
we got to
holiday
do this,
time. Yeah, we
right?
gotta get open. We only had so much time on the build out
Yeah.
to open doors. So we got through that and the first year went by really
Wow.
quickly.
Yeah.
Um and honestly, even just over the last couple months or weeks, I
Mm,
feel like I'm just now kind of getting back to the world. I've just been inundated with like every
yes.
little detail
Yeah.
because it's very much an experience based place. So, like for people who aren't familiar, some places you go, you get a massage, you leave. Well, here, we're prepping lockers, you get a robe, you get sandals, we got to have tea and snacks and reading material. And, it's
Yes.
just all the
It
things.
is a true retreat, and when you walk in, it is like it's the most beautiful spa I have ever been in. It
Oh,
is, I mean, hands down, you have done such a beautiful job with it. It is next level. And when you walk in, and I had no idea till I went in recently, when you walk in, it's like you're not even in the world anymore.
mm,
You walk in those doors down that hallway, and it is it is a I don't it's like solace. It
mm,
is true retreat. And so, and yes, next level service because of all of the amenities that you offer people. It's incredible. And
yeah,
so I would so I yes, I can absolutely attest to that. And I can imagine the care and the attention that takes, not only to to put it in, to make sure that it was all built and all, but then to develop your team and to tend to the daily details, and create the culture and the customer service and maintain that, I would imagine, is just probably like 3 full-time jobs.
And grad school, right? Like
Oh my gosh. Yes.
yeah, yeah, I mean, and, like with any other business,
Yeah.
even though, like I said, I've been helping people run businesses technically all my life,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
in different formats, but, it was also kind of our first time working with a traditional franchise environment, so that was
Right.
new.
Yeah.
A new area, new team members, so
Yeah.
like you said, it takes the first year to kind of figure out what you do and don't know and what you should do, what you should have done. Um,
Right.
but I'm super proud of the team. I think we're finally starting to get to that,
Yeah.
like I say, right seat on the bus, right person
Yes.
on the team.
Yes.
So, because
Yeah.
it takes a lot. And I have to, even the way we interview, some people have an expectation like, oh, I'm going to come work at a spa. It's going to be so relaxing. I'm like, well, we're here to help other people relax.
That's right.
Right? It shouldn't, like, stress you out, but it's, like, not here for you to sit and, like, look pretty.
Yes. Yes.
Like, we have
Exactly.
to do all the things, right? You
Right.
gotta you see something, pick it up. You see something, wipe it off, You gotta be
Yes.
ready to jump in and make that happen so that the experience for that guest stays at that level.
No doubt. Yeah. So tell me about, let's talk for just a minute. I want to dive into your leadership in general later, or more specifically later, but I want to, for just a minute, let's talk about, because I do a lot of organizational development, team development. I've developed my own team. I work with business owners to develop their teams. And that's exactly what you're talking about. What are like, i- in order to build a high performing team, a team of excellence, a culture of excellence. What
Mhm.
does that require in a business owner? What are first of all, the what are the biggest challenges in that? And
Mhm.
then what has worked? What have you learned
Mhm.
that has allowed you to, not that you're perfect at it, not that everything's just perfect. That's not what I'm saying, but obviously you're doing it well. It's you're figuring it out. You're in the day to day of it. What works well? What have you learned that a business owner needs in order to develop that culture of excellence and a high performing team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first and foremost thing is, right, just constant prayer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Constant self-evaluation.
Yes.
Um, I was just telling my husband this,
Yeah.
I've reached the stage in life where I'm starting to figure out what are the cons of all the pros of my personality, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right? So
I think we get to a point where we kind of have to start looking at that, whether we want to or not.
right. So like for me, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
I tend to be very optimistic. I
Yeah.
tend to be very, whatever it is, we
Yeah.
could power through, work through it, overcome it,
Yes.
figure it out. And
Yeah.
I tend to be pretty loyal to
Hmm.
people. Um, so take that and balance it with like I don't know if you've heard of Pat Lencioni, ideal
Oh,
team player, right?
yes.
Get it, want it, have
Absolutely.
the capacity to do it.
Yes.
What are our core values, right?
Yes.
So like in my heart, right, I always felt like, oh, I'm going to have this team forever. And people like always tell me like, that's just not how this is going to work.
Right.
And I'm learning, but
Yeah.
we even had a recent team change. And before it happened, I was driving in a car and it was just on my heart.
Yeah.
The team, like they said, what got you here won't get you there.
Won't get you there. That's
It won't
exactly
get you
right.
there. Right. So like when somebody is very me oriented,
Yeah.
what they want to do. Okay, hey, this is what the team, we all do a little this. And they're like, well, I don't want to have to do that, or
Right.
those little things where even they might be a great, like a service provider. So, like they're
Right.
doing a massage or facials, they're great at that. But, they call out all the time or they don't feel like whatever is going on should be applicable to them.
Right.
Um, I have gotten a lot more comfortable with what the ladies say, releasing them to their destiny,
Yes.
right?
There you go.
Um, because
Well,
it
they're holding up
just,
the bus. They're
yeah, they
they're
hold up
holding the
the
show.
bus, but they're also changing the feel,
That's exactly right.
right? So, like now, it used to really give me so much angst, right, to
Yes.
make these
Yes.
changes. But now I walk in the day after and I feel the
The
difference
difference.
in the spa.
No doubt.
Sometimes I'm so focused on other people's experience, like it takes me a while to figure out like, man, this person or these things were making it to the point where now I, right, can't even enjoy
Yes.
being here because it's just
Yes.
always something.
Yes.
Um, and so, and then also being surprised sometimes too. I'm trying so hard to make things work. And then when we make a change, other people or have a sigh of relief. Oh my goodness, like then they
Yeah.
start to share how
Yes.
that
How
person
it
or
was
that
impacting
dynamic was
them.
impacting them. Yeah. And then I think to myself, wow, I should have taken care of this earlier.
Right.
So I try to always give people space and grace, but at the same time, try to have like conversations faster, try
Yes.
to address things quicker, try to, hey, so I heard, this happened. Can you tell me about that? Right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
also like set expectations. Like I tell people all the time, we're not like a 5-person operation. There are a lot of people here. And
Yes.
one thing always impacts another. So I hear what you're saying, but like, hey, let me work on this. Let me talk to the
Mhm.
other person. Maybe we might need to change a policy or something like that. But if it's just like, well, we talked about it yesterday and today you're on fire about something else or you're still unhappy, it's like, okay, now we spend a lot of time on you and we got guests and other team members and things like that.
Yes.
And so it's like, I know it's part of the journey, but kind of finding that balance, that surfboard,
Yes.
evolution where you can kind of ride the waves and then go back to that prayer and just trust and
Yes.
believe like, okay, God, I don't know what's happening here, but you've got a plan.
You do. That's
You
right.
have a plan. You put it in my heart that I should be here, right?
Yes.
You allowed
Yes.
us to find this space. You allowed us to open our doors.
Yeah.
So just praying that I can be the right person for the role.
Yes.
And then we can continue to bring on more of the right people.
That's right.
And that's
Yeah.
the daily bread, right?
That's it. That is so true. And you're talking about a couple of different things there that I talk about all the time. The one is you're talking about recognizing when a certain person on the team or the culture of the business is not in true alignment with the mission and the vision and the values of the organization. And
Hmm.
oftentimes as leaders, you're right. If we don't get out of ourselves and out of our own fear about losing someone, what's this going to, we're so loss aversive, I guess is what I'm saying. We're so afraid to make a change that we, and then and I'm like you, I'm very loyal and very grace giving, and I see the good in everybody. That's what, when the coach in us, whereas you have coached people to develop. When you're a developer of people, let me say it that way. When you're a developer of people, it requires you to see the good in people so you can pull the gold out of people. But one of the biggest growth areas for me also, I'm so glad that you shared that, was recognizing when to, when also to trust my instincts and to say, hey, I'm giving way too much attention and energy to this and to this problem. Not that a person is a problem, but to this issue. And this is offsetting the alignment of the culture here. This is not where we're headed. This is not allowing us to move from this place to this place.
Mhm.
And that does require growth in the leader. It requires us having hard conversations. It requires us um, sitting in the space to hear from God about where it's out of alignment,
Mhm.
and to not be so busy in the urgent and the fires of the day to day, so that we're not even recognizing those things are going on, and
Right.
then to confront those things in us and learn how to grow in having those hard conversations and making tough decisions as the leader that the business needs us to be, rather
Mhm.
than you know the people pleaser, or just acting out of fear, making sure that, oh, we just want to, I just need to maintain here. And in other words, I say this a lot to business owners. We've got to stop as leaders. We've got to stop playing not to lose and
Mhm.
start playing to win. And that's what you're
Mhm.
talking about is you're like, I'm, I'm understanding more and more and more. And I think there's some age and some wisdom in that too. And when we're developing ourselves and
Mhm.
growing ourselves and looking at the inner conflicts we have, and um, we are we grow in our ability to do the hard things and
Mhm.
to mature in our leadership, to elevate our leadership, which means trusting those instincts and believing in the where we're headed and the business we're becoming and the team we're creating and the culture we're cultivating, rather than just being okay with where we are.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think that's hard for business owners. It's because there's so many things that need our time and our attention and our energy, that
Mhm.
doing those hard things takes even more out of us. But if we don't do them, we don't realize just how out of sync our business is and how stuck it can
Mhm.
get really quickly and how
Mhm.
stagnant that can become. And then eventually the environment becomes toxic if we
Mhm.
don't catch it.
And I think too, part of the self-assessment, right? Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm pretty much like go-getter.
Yeah.
I like to I'm a little probably fast-paced sometimes. And, the whole disc thing, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I communicate a certain way. I'm
Yeah.
looking for certain things. And it's funny just realizing too, like even the difference between a team and a dental practice versus a team and a spa.
Right.
It's called the healing arts, right?
Yes.
So you have a lot of people who are highly just kind of sensitive in a way that's like in tuned with things. Like,
Absolutely.
it's part of who they are. Part of it is like, hey, let's have fun. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that is why they're in those professions. And that's why they're great at it.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
So, like, grooming myself to balance that,
Yes.
right? Um, and learning to lead in a way about like, how does this person communicate? Or how does this
Right.
person feel about
Yes.
certain things? And just trying to like pray that I can meet that moment, but also
Yes.
like praying for the team. Cause that's another thing I had to realize like, man, I'm spending a lot of time on this or this person, but people have life going on. People
Sure.
are moving, they're getting married, they have family members that are sick, they're sick. There's
Yes.
all these things that people are dealing with. So I have to make sure I have some kind of margin or bandwidth to kind of
Yes.
read that or engage with that. And also
Yes.
remembering, right? Oh, you're the owner, right? So that
Yes.
people feel sometimes a natural divide in that
Yeah.
already.
Right.
So like that's another balancing act of like being there, helping people to feel supported and cared for, but still having a conversation like, well, okay, this is what you have going on. So, like, what amendment do we need to make to let you have space for that in your life? But at the same time, you're
Being flexible.
uh not showing up. right?
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
we
How do
have
we hold you to a certain level, to a certain standard, and to a certain accountability while still being gracious and kind
yeah,
and and understanding? It's a
it
it's
is.
a
Yeah.
it's a balance all the time.
It's really tough too because people are coming here, right,
Yeah.
to celebrate,
Yes.
sometimes to mourn,
Yes.
sometimes because we are their safe space to relax.
That's right.
So I have to be like really cognizant of like what's going on with the team
Right.
and are they even in the space to kind of create that type of experience. I mean, it's
Right.
a really delicate thing, and then I have to also make space because sometimes, like, oh, it's a luxury environment, right? Well,
Yes.
sometimes, honestly, most of our guests are superb. They're here to have a good time, but some are kind of nasty, to
Sure.
the team,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so, having to kind of keep an eye open for that and coach them through those tough moments. Oh, the lady came in, she was so mean, she was yelling at me. It's just kind of like, okay, I don't think you would like somebody talking to your 18-year-old daughter this way. It happens.
I really relate to what you're saying. I think when we are in the healing arts and when we're managing teams that are in the healing arts field, there is a different mindset. They are, first of all, we're a service based business. And if we're heart centered and we're purpose driven, we're all about glorifying God and serving people. We're all about caring for people, using our giftings to make an impact in the world for the kingdom, but also care for people really well and serve them. And we have compassionate hearts to do that. Yet there's that fine line of how do I do that? How do I honor the desire for the hearts of my team members who are in the healing arts, who are
Mhm,
so service minded that really all they want to do is take care of their client and do what they do best? How do I allow them to do that and love their work without putting so much demand on them from all the business standpoint of the things that have to happen that
mhm.
I
That's
need
right.
from them to do in order to run a sustainable, thriving, profitable business? Sometimes those
Mhm.
two come up against each other, actually, a lot. When
And
the
it's the
heart centered
creative
service,
community.
it is.
Yeah,
In, a,
and yeah.
in addition to all of the structure, systems, and strategy of the actual day to day of the business, and managing all of that together is really it takes a toll on the business owner.
Mhm.
And so I want to talk to you a little bit about like your own self-care and what do you do for you? How do you make sure that what are the things that you have in place to make sure that you don't, succumb to burnout or get in the frantic places where you're not centered and uh, and effective as a leader, or you don't give the leftovers to yourself or to your own family?
Mhm. So it's so funny. Before we opened,
Yeah.
I had an amazing self-care routine. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
We
had
all do.
four things I would do,
Yes.
right? So every month I would get a massage 1 week.
Yep.
I would do the cryo freeze one
Yep.
week. I would do floating one
Love
week,
it.
right? And then the next week was like my wiggle room. I might hike, I might swim,
There
I
you
might
go.
go get another massage, it was those systematic things.
Yeah.
And I will admit, since we've opened,
Yeah.
right, it has gone way off the
Yeah.
tracks, right?
Yeah.
So this might sound weird, but part of my self care
Yeah.
plan, especially over the last 6 to 8 months, has been all about developing our leadership team,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Because we have an amazing lead in the spa. She's so positive, she's so sharp,
Yes.
and she brings the right energy.
Yes.
And we will talk, and she says, "Well, I'm really working on this, so you don't have to be bothered with it. You don't need to come in here. You can do this, you can do that." And I just think, oh my God, like I already knew this lady was an answer to my prayers,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, this is above and beyond what anybody can ask for.
Finding the right
Um,
person is key
Finding the right person, because
because
I
you're
say this
making the
all the time.
investment into getting your time back.
Right. So I've had people on the team, they love, oh, you're here all the time or whatever. And I'm like, it shouldn't be dependent on me at all. This
Exactly.
place is running well if it can run well if I'm not here.
That's
Right.
exactly that's the key right there is if
That's the
how
key.
much it can run without me. It needs to work for me, not me work for it.
Well, and the thing is, like I said, when you kind of have people that are highly creative or
Yeah.
healing sensitive,
Yes.
that's not that's not the way they're thinking about
That's
it.
exactly
Right.
right.
They want, you
Absolutely.
should, oh, we're here folding laundry together. This is great.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
like in the big picture, the grand scheme of things, that's not the
That's
goal.
right.
So, like, I've worked putting leads in all of the areas
Yeah.
and working to build their sense of community and autonomy,
Yes.
right? Because the more that they can do, the more energy they bring, the more their own ideas, the more we can
I love it.
do, scale, grow,
That's
because
it.
as a brand, we got to a really slow start because of our opening, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we got to hit the ground running. And like we said, sometimes that bumps up against the nature. A lot of people, they go into like massage because they want to do their own thing,
That's right.
well,
Yeah.
it's like, well, you gotta be here at a certain time. You
Uh-huh.
gotta prep. You gotta
Uh-huh.
put notes in. You gotta stay compliant with the different things. And there's a protocol. There's a way we do our
Yes.
services. And some
Yes.
people, that is like, they are not interested in that.
That's
Right?
exactly right.
That's not why they became
That
a
is
massage therapist.
truly I have the same thing with therapists and coaches that I develop. It's like that is the hardest, most challenging part of it is helping is really in motivating people and developing them to understand and to be willing to do the things that business requires rather than just do the modality that they love.
That's right. That's right.
And
Because
that
there's a lot of other things.
absolutely 100%. Yes. And that, it's all about learning how to motivate people and getting them on
Mhm.
board with the vision and the mission of what we're all building together. And
Right.
if we do, if that gets our time, our attention, and our focus early on, and that becomes the center, then we can build a beautiful organization around that. And
Yeah.
that's when organizations can really thrive. And so I love that you're spending your time doing that. And then what that's going to do is buy your time back so that you have plenty of time. Yes, you might not have it for a short period of time in the scheme of things, but after a year or two, you'll get it back. And then you'll be able to have so much more of it to nourish yourself and to move, be the visionary CEO of the other things that God wants to invite you into. And I think that business owners get stuck in their business and they don't understand that. And so they
Mhm.
never build a business that runs without them. And that's one of the things
Yeah.
that, is, and then, we're wondering where did my life go? And I don't
Well,
even
and
like this thing, this thing that was my dream has become, I don't really know what this is, but I don't like it too much.
there's a lady, so I'm a member of the International Franchise
Yeah.
Association. And I got accepted into a program they did last year. It was amazing. Um, it was called Franchise Ascension. And we went to different conferences for the
Yeah.
IFA to like really get inundated.
Yeah.
And one of the speakers that was there, she also did a book, and she talks all about do what's yours to do.
Mm. Ooh,
And so, her name is Monica, and she's talking about she started with Yum Brands with Taco Bell. And in her speech, she's talking about, being in the store at 1 a.m. trying to put together this, storefront thing. And she's crying on the floor, all this stuff. And I just laughed because I was like, that is so true. Like,
yes.
I used to be really, like I said, the strengths and weaknesses. One of my strengths is I am not going to ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do.
Right.
I will scrub the toilet, I'll empty the trash cans or
Yes.
whatever. And I think for a while, especially with the team we had at first,
Yeah.
they got to the point where they're like, this is what you should be doing to spend your time.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yes.
And
It's
so
almost
if I'm
honorable that you're doing that as the business owner because it's not beneath you. We as 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 good owners, caring, heart-centered owners, we want our people to know that that's not beyond us. That we absolutely are not asking you to do something that we will not do ourselves. We value that being done. However, and I think this is where you're headed, however, at some point pretty early on, I've got to understand what is it costing my business for me to be doing those things.
bingo. What
Yeah.
am I not doing
Right.
while these things are going to? And oh, by the way, you're here
Yeah,
too, right?
exactly.
So,
Yes.
so it did. We had a thing last year. We were doing an event, and I think it was on a Thursday. It was like
Yeah.
Thursday through the weekend.
Yeah.
I went out of town on a Monday, and I think I came back Wednesday night or Thursday morning, something
Yeah.
like that. I get it, no kidding. I get a message in our messaging system at 2 a.m. from somebody who basically is telling me they're quitting
Mhm.
because they just can't fathom that I won't be there to help with the team and basically telling me I'm not doing my part.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so like, really kind of having a mind shift
Yes.
about what my part is
Yes.
and having people who understand, like, hey, we all have a role to play.
That's
I'm
right.
more than willing to jump in and do different things, but I really try to recruit in a way where I'm looking for people like, hey, bring your expertise.
That's
We're
right.
doing an event. You tell me, what are your thoughts, what we should be doing, this and that. Like,
100%.
I'm not necessarily looking for a whole bunch of people that you just come in, I just tell you, do this, do this, do this, do that.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yes.
again, that was like my aha moment. Like, okay, so we have a misalignment
That's right.
with kind of the thought process about this place
Yeah.
because technically this should be a smashing success whether I'm here or not.
That's
That
exactly
is
right.
the true testament of like,
Yes.
did this go well? Now,
Yes.
I was coming back, but just the fact that it was kind of presented in that way let
Yes.
me know, like, oh, we've reached a place where now there's an expectation
Yes.
from like this group of people about things that
Yes.
I'm here to do when they have even no idea of all the behind the scenes things that have to happen
Right.
to keep this place open and running,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
So those have all been kind of like part of those learning lessons.
Yes. And then it has to be communicated. And like you said, clear expectations, clear roles, clear responsibilities, and it's when we're in the throes of the day and just getting by, we don't think to do those things. And we often have to learn on the other side that, whoops, you have to learn from our mistakes, and
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
need to be clearer about that. Well, we need to make a shift here. But if we don't, then we will stay out of alignment and that serves nobody.
And
So,
and my
yeah,
whole thing is like with leaders, developing leaders,
yes,
I want you to care so much about your team
yes,
and what we're doing here
yeah,
that even if you did get mad at me,
that's right.
you wouldn't do that because you left your team hanging.
That's
I'm
exactly right. You don't
I'm gonna be
you're
here,
not just
right? You
answering
you
to
were
me.
mistaken. Yeah,
Exactly. You're answering
yeah,
to this group of people that y'all are in it together with. Yes.
yeah,
No
yeah.
doubt.
And
And building
so
something
it's like,
incredibly special.
okay. Right. And
That's
that
beautiful.
just kind of, instead of being like, oh man, blah, 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 I'm like, there's a misalignment here.
That's right.
And if you left your team hanging, like I said, I was already scheduled to be back. I'm here. You're not,
Yeah,
you
that's right.
know?
That's right.
So
Oh, I
getting
love
to
it.
that groove.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. You're doing such a great job. Where else? Let me just switch gears for just a second. Where else are you? How else are you involved in the community and leadership? And
Mhm.
what is your desire to, like, where do you feel God leading you in the growth in your leadership in
Mhm.
community?
It's so funny. Um, so I was just having a conversation earlier today with somebody about this, but I feel like in this season,
Yeah.
God is challenging me to share more of the journey.
Yeah.
Like I said, I tend to be very optimistic. I try to stay focused on positive things.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, being like, so we talked about we're doing Selah at the spa, right?
Yes.
So creating spaces, participating in spaces where we can kind of
Yeah.
peel back the curtain and say, hey, this is really tough.
Yes, because that's
Bless
what
you.
people need. Thank you. That is what people need.
Y-
They don't
Yeah.
want, people are hurting, they're struggling, they're stressed,
Mhm.
they're unsure, they're
Mhm.
they're trying to grow, they want to be better, and they don't have safe places, especially leaders don't have
Thank-
safe places where they don't where they can show up not having had it all figured out, or not looking like they have it all figured out, when none of us do. And we
mhm.
need, that's my heart, and that's one of the reasons for the inspiration of Say at the Spa, which I want you to share a little bit more about. And because that is the inspiration behind that, is that it is a safe place where women, Christian women leaders, can come together and we can talk about the hard things. What is going on? What are you struggling with? We can pray with each other. We can pray over each other. We can divulge those vulnerable things that are really happening and really going on without being exposed for not having it all together, or not, not being perfect, or you know well, she's supposed to be this, it looks like she's running this successful business or this good Christian leader, and well, look at her, being judged.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you're
That's right.
exactly right. And that is needed more than ever in our world, in our
Mhm.
society. And that's my heart too. And I think that's why God brought us together in this one endeavor at least. But
Yeah.
what was your heart for? I'll let you share a little bit about that. I just about Selah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, just I've prayed for
Yeah.
new and different
Yeah.
connections um, that kind of opened up in a new way.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really hard for me. That's kind of not my natural inclination,
Yeah.
but it's so valuable. Like people have shared things with me and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe you shared that.
Yeah.
Um, and I have always kind of been known as being like a really good listener,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I don't always share so
Yeah.
much. And understanding the power in that and how that
Yeah.
makes you more relatable, how it kind of shows the full picture,
Yes.
right, of the journey, like the Christian
Absolutely.
walk,
Oh
the
my
little
gosh.
day to day things that go
Yes.
on, and the big ones too,
Yes.
and learning how to just even like with the leadership team here, I think it was a month or two ago, we were doing our celebration. And I just said, hey guys, just FYI, right now, my dad is battling cancer. We just got the diagnosis. I might need a little extra space and grace,
Yeah.
right? Just to kind of throw up a,
Yeah.
hey, I know I'm always focused on you guys and what's going on with you,
Yeah.
but if I seem snappy or out of it or whatever, like, hey, I'm just juggling a lot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have other people I've been around, they have children with special needs, they have aging parents, they
Mhm.
have just so many things going on. And
Right.
just having, like with the Selah at the spa, or even what my husband and I are working on, well, today's mom and pop,
I was gonna ask
you
you
think
about that.
about,
Yes.
yeah, back in the day, running the farm together. What does that look like in modern day? Oh,
Yes.
well, you're the CEO of this organization. This person is the owner of that. And you're both juggling all these things.
Yes.
You're constantly being exposed
Right.
because you're a leader. So everybody's
That's
watching.
right.
And depending on the heart of that person, right? They might support you and show up there and be for you. And it's like, oh, thank you. But they might also be like you said, oh, she's supposed to be a Christian. And she
Uh-huh.
told me I have to
Uh-huh.
do this or whatever, it's
Right.
like,
Yes.
so it's very difficult sometimes to connect
Mm.
in those spaces. And like you said, so many people are inundated with the day-to-day of their business.
Right.
They don't have like other people maybe in their family, their siblings, their parents, they might not live that life.
That's right.
They don't know what that looks like to, oh, I need to introduce this new initiative to the team.
Right.
I had the meeting. I brought up this topic we need to discuss, and everybody just sat there and looked at me
Yes.
in silence.
Yes.
And then they text each other at the table, just
Business
all these
and
things.
leadership in general is lonely.
Yeah, it
Leadership
is. It
is
can be.
lonely. And so that
Hmm.
is why I'm with you in that I feel really, really led to create safe spaces and to be in safe spaces that other people create, that just be a part of community where leaders can come together and support each other. And also
Hmm.
share the details around and just around the modern day mom and pop, and then
Okay.
and so just kind of like what it is, if people are interested in getting involved, how they can get involved, and where can they get more information about that. And then the same with Selah. We've already shared what it is, but let's share the details of when it is and who it's for and where they can get more information. And I'll include this in the show notes also.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
Selah at the spa. So we came up with this. In the Bible, you see Selah a couple of
Yep.
times, right? And it's always meant to be that moment of reflection.
Yeah.
Stop and pause.
Pause.
So, the fourth Friday of every month, we moved it to 7 a.m. so
Yep.
that people could come and then go do all the school and the work and all the other things. But it's really geared around focusing on one thing.
Yes.
Right. So that's another thing. Sometimes we get in these groups and small groups and the
So
conversation
much.
is going all over the place. Right. It's like, no, we're going to talk about this one topic.
Yeah.
So we just did the pilot. We
Yep.
did having a breakthrough,
Yep.
and we kept it focused. Hey, what is one area you
Yeah.
need a breakthrough on?
Yeah.
Let's talk through that. What does that look like? Let's share some ideas. Let's pray about that,
Yes.
but not what's going on with your dog and not what's
Right.
happened with the kids. What is the
That's
one
that
thing,
one thing. That's
right?
right. Yep.
Getting focused.
Yep.
So that one's on Eventbrite. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's like eventbrite.com/Selah at the spa,
Yep.
but
But
all the
it's SELAH at the spa.
right
And I'll
at
include
the
it in the show
spa.
notes if you're interested. But all Christian
Yeah.
women leaders are
Women leaders.
invited.
Yep. Yep.
And if you just want to join us, you don't have to come every single time, just when you can be there. You don't, it's not like a
Yep.
build on. I mean, of course, we get to know each other and we want to be in community, but it's not like you have to be there every single time. Fourth Friday of
Right.
every month from 7 to 9 a.m. And we just would
Yep.
love to have you if you're interested. And then mom and pop,
Yep. Yes.
modern day mom and
So
pop.
today's mom and pop is, like I said, community. And, we're working on a book project.
Love
We're
it.
kind of formulating things around it. But in addition to being a leader,
Yeah.
right, taking that with you and your spouse are
Mm,
both leading,
yes.
right?
God, that's so needed.
Sometimes you work together. So like my husband and I, we were working in the same place,
Yep.
and that was interesting because right, we both kind of had our lanes.
Yep.
Um, But then like, you're serving on boards.
Yeah.
You're on the PTA. You're just doing all these different things,
Yes.
HOA, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And now you've only got so many hours in the day. You're stressed, they're stressed. You're worried about your bottom line. They're worried about their bottom
Talking
line.
business
You're
all
trying
the
to
time.
all the time. Yes, the date night is really just
Yeah.
food with a meeting.
Yep.
Just
Absolutely.
that's just the way it is. And
Yeah.
so what does that look like? A lot of people want to like, oh, I want to be my own boss. I want to, we laugh so hard sometimes, and maybe we shouldn't, but we have
No.
people say, oh, I want to own a dental practice because I want more time. And we just laugh.
Right.
Like, that is not what is going to happen to you. And let us tell you very clearly
Yes.
so that you understand
Yes.
if your plan is, I want to own my own dental practice because I'm going to have all my own time and then I'm going to have children and do this and do that. It's like, well, yeah, you find your way and you can get there,
Sure.
or maybe your time is different.
Right.
I was at a women's leadership thing that PNC put on, and like the speaker was Damon John, and he talked about work-life harmony, not
Yes.
work-life
Not balance.
balance.
There is no balance. It's harmony. Yes. It's
It's
congruent. It's
harmony.
being congruent. It's learning how to be congruent in my life to who I am and what matters most to me and how I'm spending my time and my energy. Yes.
That's right. And then like balancing, like my husband and I have had seasons where we sat down and we thought, oh my goodness, like we're pouring everything into our teams.
Yes.
Everything is going out.
Yes.
And it's sounds good. It
Right.
seems like a good idea, but then it's like, oh, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We got a team here
We
in our
got
house.
this team.
You
That's
know?
right.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
how do you balance that? And how do
Yeah.
you support each other? Like sometimes things are crazy here, maybe they're crazy there, maybe they're crazy in both,
Yeah. I love it.
and
Oh, that is
what does
beautiful.
all that look like?
That
You
is
know?
so needed. Oh my gosh. Well, if someone is interested in finding out more about that, how do they, how is there a place that they can go, or did they just contact you, or what's,
Yeah, so what we're building out is mom and pop dot today. So that
oh,
is the website we're working
I
on.
love that. I love it.
So, but
Wow.
yeah, definitely I'll share information and the like you say, the contact and
Yeah.
the links that you send out.
Yeah.
Um, because like I said, we're really still doing a lot of shaping around that.
That's amazing.
Um, and really partnering in a way where we're working with some other people to like,
Mm,
okay, hey, let's do a retreat. Let's go away,
yes.
right? Let's
Yes.
go away. Let's have this community where we certain things we understand about each other's lives already.
Right. That's right.
You know?
Yes.
So how do we like grow together?
Yes.
How do we be profitable in spirit and finances
Mm,
together?
I love
A
that.
lot of couples get to a place where there's a lot of competition, whether it's
Yes.
competition of time, competition of performance, all these things.
Yeah.
So like taking the kind of investing in your marriage, but as two leaders,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And kind of what that really
Oh,
looks like. And that's kind of part of what, like you said, God has put on my heart. You know, the spa is beautiful and it's great. But like I said, it is hard, right?
yes.
It takes a lot. It takes a
Yes.
whole lot in every way.
Mm,
And
mm.
but anybody who leads, anybody who has built something, opened something, started something, they know what that feels like.
That's exactly
They
right.
know what all the overcoming the no's, somebody closing a door, you have to go open another one.
Mhm.
Okay, things didn't go exactly as planned. Now what? I mean, you pour your entire life into this stuff.
Absolutely.
And having two people that do that and trying to have harmony with also then pouring into each other and
Yeah.
your family and your life. And, people have kids and parents and
Yes.
all that. So just again, making another safe space.
I love it. So beautiful. Oh, that's just incredible. Because that is so needed. And there's not a lot out there for that, that I have heard of. So that's incredible. I know we've got to go. I just want to just in closing, you've shared
Sure.
so many beautiful things today, and I know it's been inspiring to and encouraging to people and challenging to people.
Mhm.
And so thank you for that. Thank you for just being so willing to share your journey and to share vulnerably. That for that business owner out there that's and especially, in regards to being a Christian leader and being wanting to honor God and to be the best you. What is it, if you could speak like one word of, encouragement to that business owner out there who is doing it all? They're building something bigger than themselves. They're
Mhm.
leaning into God to do it for them because they have no way to know how it's going to happen. They just know they've got that dream in their heart. What do
Mhm.
you want to say to encourage them today?
So if I had to pick one word,
Yeah.
the word that is put on my heart right in this moment is noise, right?
Oh, that gives me chills. Mm,
Right? So
mm,
as a business leader,
mm,
a business owner,
mm,
there are so many naysayers.
mm.
There's so much friction sometimes. You have so much doubt, all of these things. But like I said, here, I knew we wanted to be a communal place.
Yeah.
I knew that, for example, for other small business owners, you might want to award your team or do something special for your clients.
Yes.
Well, walking in my lane, well, now I can offer things like that to people. Hey, we
Yeah.
can create a custom program for you
Yes.
to pour into your team or to elevate your business, right? That's why I'm here. So, like, the days when, we get the nasty grams or the person going off the rails about something or whatever, I
Yes.
just have to remember we're building something great here.
Mm, yes.
And no matter what happens, no
Yeah.
matter what that looks like, we're already open.
That's right.
W- And God is responsible for the outcome, not me.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to constantly take in all that noise all the time and
That's right.
just because sometimes you get so bogged down with
Yes.
all of the stuff coming at you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's that Selah thing, right? Like, hey, I need to just step back and what is it? I'm thinking about Dan Sullivan. But he's always talking about looking back.
Mm,
Don't look forward
yeah.
at what you're not doing or what you haven't accomplished yet.
Yeah.
The gap in the gain,
Oh, yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
right. Always
Yeah,
the gap is the noise. You
that's
didn't do
right.
this. You didn't hit that target. This person's mad. This person said this.
Yes.
But what's the
What's
gain?
the
I tell
game?
the team all the time. This time last year, we had 100 guests. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, but
Yes.
where are we now? Look at you now. Look at all these reviews you've got. We have people coming here. They're crying. They're hugging the therapist. They're sending
Yes.
thank you notes. These are amazing things.
Absolutely.
So, like, you got to be able to sometimes take that noise to the side
Yes.
and, like, speak life,
That's
right?
it.
Hear
That's
that,
it.
speak it to other people, but also speak it to yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the goodness and the grace and the glory is not in the noise. That's
Nope.
exactly right. Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. And I'm just gonna leave us with that. There is nothing I can say to like that is that just that's incredible. So guys, take that in, just breathe that in and find those places where his peace in his presence are grounding and provide the calm and the safety and the security and the certainty. And that's inside of you. That's not outside of you. That's not when circumstances line up. That's not when things look a certain way. That's available to us right now if we will find his calm and his peace inside of us. And that's when we are resourced to access his greatest wisdom. That's when we will see the greatest fruit in our lives and in our businesses. And that's when we'll feel the most joy. And then we can celebrate the wins in the gains. And I love that
That's
the
right.
way that you just said that. Uh,
That's right.
oh,
And I don't know if this is allowed,
yeah,
but I'm like, let's close out in prayer.
absolutely. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Oh, I love it. Do you want
So
to?
this is
Yeah,
just
yeah. Do you want to do it or you want me to?
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'll pray, and then if you want to add,
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds good.
So,
Mm,
God, we just again thank you for this time. We
mm.
just pray a special blessing over everyone who hears our voice on
Yes,
this
Lord.
podcast. We pray that you give them the strength, wisdom, discernment, and courage to keep
Mm,
going, to
yes.
cancel out all the noise, and to stay focused on you and the vision that you have and the things that you will have them do. We pray for peace, that they don't have to be fearful or focused on what's not happening or what's going to happen or what is the outcome. We ask for your continued daily bread in our lives, that you will continue to walk with us every step of the way and we can have peace and comfort in that. And we
Yes.
just say thank you for all the people who are listening, because usually that means they've already taken those first couple steps.
That's right,
They've
God.
put themselves out there. They've made themselves vulnerable to do something special in our communities. And with this podcast in particular, putting that Christian stamp on it and kind of just showing in today's world, what does that look like? How do you balance it? How do you walk it? And how do you connect with community?
Yes.
We just thank you for these things and just pray for your continued blessings.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, God. And I just pray, Lord, that you just highlight the one thing that you are either pouring out your wisdom in that area that they need wisdom, or that you are encouraging them where they need encouragement, or that you're offering guidance and direction in the place where they need the most direction. That your voice is louder than all
Yeah.
the noise, all the worry, all the fear, all the doubt. Just center each one listening today in the power and the authority that they have in you. Center them in your whole and perfect love that casts out all fear, and remind them of their identity and the calling that's in their heart. Let them have an incredibly powerful sense of your presence that that goes before them and surrounds them and does things that they can't do for themselves, and so that they can rest in the trust that what you have called them to, you will complete that good work. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All
Yeah, I so
right.
appreciate you having me on
Oh,
here.
thank you.
It's going to be a special blessing for you for putting this together, this podcast, making this space for
Oh,
people.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
being here. And it is a joy for me to share this, because it is many people as we can touch with story, and we can touch with encouragement, and we can lead them and guide them and encourage them in their walk with God. And that's the key. That's the game changer. And so I just appreciate your willingness and your heart to do that. And you guys, I hope that this has encouraged, empowered, equipped, and inspired you today. And that if it has, that you will share this with someone that you know needs to hear it, and that you will keep going in your journey, and you will recommit your way to Him, and that His voice is louder than any other voice. And that carries you to that next place where He's inviting you. And we just pray blessing over you. And we just thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you right back here on the next episode. Thank you guys. And thank you, CA. Thanks for joining me today on the Free to Soar podcast, where we empower and equip you to lead the business and the life of your dreams with freedom, impact, enjoyment, and abundance. I look forward to our next episode together, and I invite you to subscribe to be notified of new episodes as they are released. Please share this or your favorite episode with a friend or a loved one. And I'd love it if you'd leave a review on iTunes and Spotify.